A 35-year-old millionaire is dining alone at the city's most expensive restaurant. Suddenly, a 12-year-old street kid approaches his table. "Excuse me, sir," he whispers, his voice trembling. "When you're finished, could I eat whatever's left?" The millionaire looks at the torn clothes, those eyes full of hunger. "What's your name?" he asks, moved. "Diego. Diego Garcia. I haven't eaten in 3 days." The rich man is silent for a moment, then does something incredible. "Diego, sit down. We're going to order together." What happens next will change both their lives forever, because sometimes a simple act of kindness can unleash a miracle. Alejandro Herrera, 35, is one of the richest men in Spain. He's built an €800 million real estate empire, starting from nothing. But tonight, sitting alone at a table at Diverexo in the Salamanca district, he feels strangely empty. He has everything money can buy. A €20 million mansion, luxury cars, yachts in the Mediterranean. Yet something is missing. As he savors a €500 Vegas Sicilia wine and waits for his lobster rice, he notices a small figure timidly approaching his table. It's a boy around 12, thin as a rail. His clothes are torn, his hair dirty, but his blue eyes shine with a rare intelligence. "Excuse me, sir," the boy says, his voice trembling as he nervously looks around. "When you finish eating, could I have whatever's left?" Alejandro is stunned, not by the request, but by the polite way it was made. "What's your name?" he asks, setting down his fork. "Diego. Diego Garcia. I'm 12, and I haven't eaten in 3 days." Alejandro studies the boy. Despite the poverty, Diego holds himself straight, speaks with dignity. He's not begging, he's asking respectfully. "Diego, what are you doing on the streets? Where are your parents?" The boy's eyes fill with tears. "Mom and Dad died in an accident 2 months ago. I was in foster care, but I ran away." "Why did you run away?" "Because they hurt me." Alejandro feels something tighten in his chest. This boy has lived more pain than many adults. "Sit here beside me," Alejandro says firmly. The boy looks at him in disbelief. "But I'm dirty. People will stare." "I don't care about people. Sit down." Diego sits timidly in the chair next to Alejandro. "Waiter." Alejandro calls. "Bring the menu. My friend here is going to order." The waiter looks at the street kid with disgust, but Alejandro silences him with a glare. "Did you hear what I said?" Diego can't believe what's happening. "Sir, I don't have any money." "I have the money. Just tell me what you'd like to eat." For the first time in months, Diego smiles. But what Alejandro is about to discover about this boy will leave him speechless. As Diego devours carbonara pasta like it's the last meal of his life, Alejandro watches him, intrigued. "Diego, did you go to school before everything happened?" The boy nods while chewing. "Yes, I was first in my class. I really loved studying, especially math and English." "You speak English?" Diego responds in perfect British English, "Yes, sir. My teacher said I was a natural talent." Alejandro is astonished. This street kid speaks English better than many of his business partners. "And math?" Alejandro asks. "Well," Diego says shyly, "I can do complex calculations in my head. My classmates said I was weird." "Give me an example." 347 times 286. Alejandro reaches for his phone to check, but Diego answers first, 99,242. Alejandro verifies. "It's exact." "Diego, you're a genius." The boy looks down. "What good is being smart if you sleep under bridges?" Alejandro feels his heart sink. This boy has incredible potential that's being wasted. "Diego, tell me the truth. What really happened at the foster home?" The boy hesitates. "The director, he used to hit me. He said I was too arrogant, that I thought I was better than everyone else. He hit you because you were smart? Yes. And then there were worse things, things I don't want to talk about. Alejandro turns pale with rage. A child this special had been abused by the very people meant to protect him. Diego, how long have you been living on the street? 2 weeks. I sleep under the Segovia Bridge. I eat whatever I find in dumpsters. 2 weeks. Alejandro does a quick calculation. But when you said you hadn't eaten in 3 days. Yesterday I found half a pizza. The day before, a sandwich. But today, nothing. Alejandro calls the waiter again. Bring everything good you have, and prepare a package to go. Diego looks at him, confused. Why are you doing all this for me? Alejandro thinks for a moment. Because when I was 12, I was poor too. And no one ever helped me. He pauses. I got rich by working 16 hours a day for 20 years. But mostly, I got lucky. I met someone who believed in me when no one else did. Alejandro looks Diego in the eyes. And maybe today, that person is you for me. Diego doesn't understand what he means, but he's about to find out. After 2 hours of dinner, Alejandro and Diego walk through El Retiro Park. The boy has filled his stomach for the first time in days and carries a bag full of food. Diego, Alejandro says, stopping by a bench. I have a proposal for you. What kind of proposal? Come live at my house. Diego looks at him, shocked. But you don't even know me. What if I'm a thief or a liar? Alejandro smiles. In my 20 years of business, I've learned to read people. You have something most adults have lost. What? Honesty. And pure intelligence. Diego shakes his head. It's impossible. I'm homeless. You're rich. What will people say? I don't care what people say. Diego, I have no family. My parents are gone. No siblings, no children. My 20 million euro mansion is empty. He pauses. I don't know how to live being rich anymore. And you don't know how to live being human. We could learn together. Alejandro kneels to Diego's level. You're special. You have a brain that could change the world. But if you stay on the streets, all that talent will be wasted. What would I have to do at your house? Study. I have a library with 10,000 books. Private tutors for every subject. Everything you could want to learn. Diego's eyes begin to shine. Really? I could study anything I want? Anything you want. And when you're older, if you want, you can work with me. Become my partner. But why would you do all this? Alejandro thinks. Because when I was poor, I dreamed that someone would give me a chance. Today, I want to be that person for you. Diego is silent for long minutes. Señor Alejandro, are you sure? I've never been more sure of anything in my life. What if you're wrong? What if I disappoint you? Diego, the only way you could disappoint me is by not even trying. The boy makes a decision that will change both their lives forever. Okay. I accept. What they don't know is that this decision will trigger an incredible series of events. Villa Herrera, Los Rosas, a dream property with 50 rooms, swimming pool, tennis court, and a 10-hectare park. When Diego enters for the first time, his jaw drops. Señor Alejandro, all this is yours? Ours, Diego. From today, this is your home too. Alejandro shows him his room, 80 square meters, private bathroom, terrace with garden view. This is the biggest room I've ever slept in, Diego whispers, touching the king-size bed. And this, Alejandro says, opening a door, is your personal library. Diego enters and sees floor-to-ceiling bookshelves, mathematics, physics, languages, history, art. I can really read all these books. They're yours. And tomorrow, Professor Carmen arrives for private lessons. Diego turns around, his eyes full of tears. Señor Alejandro. No one has ever been this kind to me. Call me Alejandro. And you're not here out of charity. You're here because I saw something special in you. The first days are difficult. Diego isn't used to comfort. He still wakes up in the middle of the night thinking he's under the bridge. But slowly, he begins to flourish. Professor Carmen is amazed. Alejandro, this child is a prodigy. He learned French in a week, actually learned it. And he's solving high school math problems at 12 years old. Alejandro smiles proudly. He chose well. But the real surprise comes when Diego asks, Alejandro, can I see how you work? You want to come to the office with me? Yes. I want to understand how money is made. Honestly. Alejandro takes him to his office in AZCA, Madrid's financial district. Diego observes everything with wide eyes, the skyscrapers, the meetings, the €1,000,000 contracts. It's all so complicated, Diego says. Only at first. Then it becomes natural. Diego starts asking incredibly intelligent questions about real estate markets, interest rates, investment strategies. Alejandro's assistants are stunned. Boss, that kid knows more than many economics graduates. But what happens 3 months later will leave everyone speechless. 3 months after their encounter, Diego is unrecognizable. Elegant clothes, neat haircut. But most importantly, a new confidence in his blue eyes. He's devoured hundreds of books, speaks perfect English, French, and German, and solves complex equations like they're games. But the real surprise comes during an important meeting. Diego, Alejandro says, today I have a crucial meeting with German investors. Do you want to come and listen? Can I speak if I have an idea? Alejandro smiles. Your family. You can say whatever you want. During the meeting, the German investors propose a €200 million real estate project. Alejandro is about to say yes when Diego raises his hand. Entschuldigung, he says in perfect German. Could I ask a question? The investors look at him, surprised. Who is this boy? Diego continues in German, I've done some calculations on the construction costs you proposed. According to my analysis, you're overestimating by 30%. Absolute silence in the room. And furthermore, Diego continues, the land you want to buy has a legal issue you haven't considered. Alejandro looks at him incredulously. Diego has studied the entire dossier. How do you know this? One investor asks. I did online research on the previous owners. There's an ongoing lawsuit with the city council. The investors exchange nervous glances. Diego is right. But, Diego says with a smile, I know an alternative piece of land that costs 40% less and has no legal problems. 2 hours later, Alejandro has closed a €250 million deal instead of €200 million, with double the profit margin. Diego, Alejandro says when they're alone, how did you do that? I read all the documents you had on the table and did my research. But you're 12. So? Intelligence doesn't have an age. Alejandro realizes he has found not just a son, but a brilliant partner. But what happens the next day will change everything again. The day after Diego's triumph, Alejandro receives a call that turns his blood cold. Alejandro Herrera? This is Dr. Ramirez, director of the San Jose Foster Center. How did you get my number? We saw the photos in the newspapers. Diego Garcia is with you, isn't he? Alejandro tenses. Why? Because Diego ran away illegally from our facility. He's still under our legal guardianship. Your guardianship? Diego told me what you did to him. Diego is a troubled child, Señor Herrera. He has a tendency to make up stories for attention. Alejandro feels rage rising. Stories? He has bruises on his back. Accidents during recreational activities. Señor Herrera, you must return him immediately. Never. Then we'll be forced to involve the authorities. Diego comes back, or we report you for child abduction. Alejandro hangs up, furious. When Diego returns from his lessons, Alejandro tells him everything. The boy turns pale. No, I can't go back there. Please, Alejandro. You're not going anywhere. This is your home. But what if they call the police? Alejandro thinks. Then we need to move first. The next day, Alejandro hires the best lawyer in Spain, Maria Santos. Doctora, I want to adopt Diego. Is it possible? Difficult, but not impossible. We have to prove the foster center isn't a suitable environment. Diego has proof. Diego pulls out his phone. I recorded everything they did to me. Alejandro and the lawyer listen to the recordings. They're chilling, adult voices yelling, hitting, threatening, and Diego's voice crying, begging for mercy. Enough, the lawyer says, tears in her eyes. With this material, we can have the entire staff arrested. How long will the adoption take? 6 months. But I can get temporary custody in a week. Alejandro smiles. Perfect. But Director Ramirez doesn't give up easily, and what he does 3 days later is even more terrible. 3 days later, while Alejandro is at the office and Diego is in class with Professor Carmen, 4 uniformed men ring the villa's bell. Police. Search warrant. Housekeeper Pilar is terrified. For what? We're looking for Diego Garcia. He's accused of theft. Theft? That's impossible. The officers search the house and find Diego in the library. Diego Garcia, you're under arrest for aggravated robbery. Diego is in shock. But I didn't steal anything. Director Ramirez says you stole 5,000 euros from the safe before you ran away. That's a lie. I never went into his office. But the officers take him away. Alejandro arrives running after receiving Pilar's call. Where did they take him? To the Monclo police station. Alejandro races there with attorney Santos. Commissioner, the lawyer says, this arrest is illegal. The boy is a minor and didn't have a guardian present. His legal guardian is Dr. Ramirez. He's the one who filed the complaint. Can we see the evidence? The commissioner shows a video, Diego entering Ramirez's office and taking money from the safe. Alejandro studies it carefully. This video is fake. How can you tell? Because I know Diego. The boy in that video is 4 inches taller. The lawyer has an expert analyze the video. Commissioner, this video has been manipulated. It's a composite. But while they're arguing, Diego does something incredible. From the holding cell, he calls Alejandro. I hacked into the foster center system. I found everything. What did you find? Ramirez is hiding illegal adoptions. He sells children to wealthy families who can't adopt legally. You have proof? Everything's on their server. Bank accounts, contracts, everything. Alejandro smiles. Diego, you're a genius. 2 hours later, the National Police raid the foster center and arrest Ramirez and his entire staff. Diego is released and runs into Alejandro's arms. I was so scared, the boy cries. It's over, champ. No one will ever hurt you again. But the real surprise comes the next day. 1 year after their first meeting at the restaurant, Alejandro and Diego are back at Diver XO, but this time, they're not alone. With them is attorney Santos, carrying a folder. Alejandro, the lawyer says, the documents are ready. Alejandro opens the folder and shows Diego an official document, adoption certificate. Diego Garcia officially becomes Diego Herrera. Diego bursts into tears. Really? I'm really your son? You've been my son since the first moment I saw you. Now it's just official. But Alejandro has one more surprise. Diego, there's something else. What? I've decided to start a foundation. It will be called the Diego Herrera Foundation, and it will help street kids, just like you were. A foundation, with my name? You changed my life, Diego. Now we're going to change the lives of other children. Diego hugs Alejandro. Dad. I love you. I love you too, my son. 2 years later, Diego, now 15, has become a phenomenon. He speaks 8 languages. He's already finished high school and is about to enter university at 16. But most importantly, he's helped Alejandro save 200 street children through their foundation. Diego, Alejandro says as they watch the sunset from the villa's terrace, do you remember that night at the restaurant? How could I forget it? You saved my life. No, Diego. You saved mine. Before I met you, I was rich but empty. Now I'm rich and happy. Diego smiles. You know what all this has taught me? Tell me. That sometimes, to find a family, you just need the courage to ask the right person for help. Alejandro hugs him. And sometimes, to find purpose in life, you just need the courage to help the right person. That night, as Diego studies in his library and Alejandro works in his office, they both know they've found what they've been searching for all along. Not just a family, but the certainty that love and generosity can truly change the world. And it all started with a simple question. Can I eat your leftovers? If this story moved you, if you believe a single act of kindness can change a life, leave a like down below. I want to hear from you. Have you ever helped a stranger in need? Have you ever received help when you needed it? Do you believe street kids can really change their lives? If this story touched your heart, like it. If you believe in the power of generosity, subscribe for stories that will make you believe in humanity. Share this with someone who needs hope. Comment, kindness changes the world. Remember, sometimes the person we help today could be the one who changes the world tomorrow. And when an adult and a child meet with open hearts, they can create a family stronger than any blood tie. See you in the next video with another story proving that kindness always wins. Love you, generous hearts.